part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
And welcome to another Reghi and Roda podcast powered by MGM Northfield Park right here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Shout out to our fantabulous producer extraordinaire, Ty Courts, making sure all of you out there, wherever you are, and we appreciate every single one of you. When you're listening out there in the podcastosphere, you can thank Ty Courts because he makes it possible. Michael Reghi, always great to catch up with you, my friend. And it is, how about this? For the first time since 1998 without LeBron James on the basketball roster for the Cleveland Cavaliers, we will be watching, looking at, yelling at, screaming at, talking all about Cavaliers playoff basketball as they open up the playoffs at home on Saturday, the 15th, against the New York Knickerbockers. How about that, Reg?
Yeah, Roadman, great to be with you as always as well here on the Press Play Podcast Network. And yeah, 25 years, Kenny, as you just laid it out. Are we getting that old, man? We're a quarter of a century since that dynamic you laid out the last time. And of course, I was calling Cavaliers games on the television side at that time. And so it evokes a lot of memories for me. But yeah, Kenny, I find this exciting because as we're going to get into, this Cavaliers squad came from last year getting, an unceremonious end to well, they really didn't even get in the playoff run, right? They got knocked out in that play-in, and here they are, a 51-win basketball team, and have put together a strong enough year to be the 4 seed. So it's not going to be easy, but Kenny, I think we're going to find out a lot about the inner workings of this Cavaliers squad as they go up against, as we're going to talk about, I think, a very, very good New York Knicks squad.
Yeah, Reg, they've been playing very good basketball the second half of the season, much like the Cavaliers, right? The big question, Julius Randle, will he be able to go? If so, how close to 100% will he be? Cavaliers on the flip side, everybody healthy with the exception of Isaac Okoro, but he's been shooting and working out. The extra week off hopefully will give him that time to heal. And will he be able to come in and go back in the starting lineup and be that defensive player maybe they need to put on Jalen Brunson late in games so he doesn't drop 48 on the Cavaliers in a playoff game like he did a few weeks ago at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in a regular season game. So from that standpoint, those are things we don't know yet as we tape this podcast. We'll find out more as we get closer to tip-off, 6 p.m. on Saturday the 15th. But, Reg, let's start with our Cavaliers and give me your thoughts as you look at the starting 5. And let's assume for, right now that Okoro will be able to go, the starting 5. And then looking at that bench, how deep do you think that bench will be for one JB Bickerstaff?
Yeah, Kenny, in the last few days, I've gotten into some conversations with Cavs fans, on the Twitter about this.
I saw that, Reg. They're all over you, man. They want that info.
Yeah, well, I think a little differently, though, than most of them do. So maybe Kenny, I don't believe. I'm going to tell you this first. Remember back in the day, again, during my time calling 14 years of the NBA, Pat Riley, right? The great Pat Riley. I remember speaking to him. And when he was coaching the Knicks, just before a playoff series started, the Cavaliers happened to play him. I said, Pat, how do you go about your rotation during the playoffs? He said, it's real simple, Reghi. I'll think about for a second playing 8. I really only want to play 7, but when nut cutting time comes, I'm playing 6. Sounds like something Pat Riley would throw out, huh? But Kenny, that's always left a big impression on me. So now with, Danny Green coming back and shooting the basketball well, Cavalier fans want 9-10 guys to play, Ken. No, I'm sorry. Number one, you can't do that because all that's doing, it's taking minutes from your top 6, right?
Yeah.
So, that's going to be a hard situation. I really think If Okoro plays, Kenny, you got your starting five, you got Karis LeVert, and I think you got Lamar Stevens. And Kenny, I'm telling you, if Danny Green gets a few minutes, maybe. But see, here's the thing, and I want to get your thought on this too, because you're as I say. Look, I know everybody says, well, Danny Green can make some shots. Have you watched the New York Knicks at all this year? And not just Jalen Brunson is one thing. Two young guys by the name of Emmanuel Quickly and Quentin Grimes, Kenny. Yeah. They've both had so what you may gain from Danny Green making a shot, who is he going to check on the defensive end of the floor if you give him extended minutes?
Reg, I look at it this way. I would like to see him for a few minutes a game. I'm talking a handful, okay?
Yeah.
5 to 8 minutes, 2 handfuls maybe a game, but in select situations, right? Offense, defense, depending on who they have out there, mix and match. And that's something I go all the way back, Reg, to when the Celtics and the Sixers in the Bird era, right, would play each other in those Eastern Conference matchups to go to the NBA Finals to play the Lakers, right?
Yep.
The two coaches, those guys would match up based on who was on the floor. And then in the offseason, if they didn't have somebody to match up with that guy, they went out and got that guy in the offseason, right? Yeah. That's when Boston went out and got Dennis Johnson to deal with Andrew Toney and vice versa and moves like that. So for me, it's matchup specific with Danny Green. I'm not just playing him to play him. I'm playing him based on the matchups because I have more faith. And you mentioned Lamar Stevens. I don't have faith in Lamar Stevens, Dean Wade, or Cedi Osman. None whatsoever come postseason time.
I'm with you on the last two you just said.
Okay. Yeah. I want somebody with playoff experience out there. And the last 2 games, and I know it's a small sample size, right? The last 2 games, Danny Green got some minutes because they sat the starters for the most part in those last 2 games, and Green shot the ball pretty well.
He did.
And defensively, is he what he used to be? No. Is he better than Cedi? Yes. Is he better than Dean Wade? Yes. Stevens is probably more athletic than Green right now, but Green gives you the postseason experience. So that's why I'm with you. LeVert for sure off the bench. Rubio's going to get some minutes just to give Garland a break, okay? And then Danny Green. So those would be my 3 off the bench if I'm JB Bickerstaff based on playoff experience. All 3 of them have it, and that's the way I would go. That's just me.
Gotcha. I think it'll be and I think it has to be, Kenny. I'll throw this ad out to you. You're right. I didn't mention. It's got to be a very short leash, though, with Ricky Rubio.
Oh,
he had not played well. No, he can't shoot the ball at all. And, that he just hasn't played well. So to me, those 6, you're starting 5, and Kenny, that's also I'm gonna throw this is contingent when we say the starting 5 with the assumption that Isaac Okoro is going to be able to play and start, and maybe there are a lot of times too he was only playing, he'd start but he'd only play 22 minutes if you noticed over the course of the last 15 games or so, because that particular night he wasn't hitting shots, and Bickerstaff felt like, well, I got to have some offense. So let's see where that goes. But Ken, here's another thing I'm worried about, and you're a top-notch basketball guy. Tom Thibodeau is a damn strong defensive coach, Ken. And I'm afraid that he is going to blitz the hell out of the Cavaliers pick and roll game. And that's why I've been so, this, our last few shows. Hey, listen, Darius Garland, man, come on now. You got to clean up your handle, man. You got to clean up, stop being so laissez-faire with the handle, and make better decisions. Because, Kenny, I'm telling you, I'll be shocked if Tom Thibodeau does not really blitz him and come after him in those high ball screens and Cavaliers pick and roll. What say you about it?
I'm with you 100%. That scares me the most about this team, and that's the nonchalant finesse style of play from one Darius Garland down the stretch of games. As if it's no big deal, right? It's just the final 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes of a game. And no, that's when you've got to become super aggressive, super protective of the basketball, and make sure you at least get a shot as opposed to turning it over. And that's where he scares me. And that's where, Reg, I think we may see more of Donovan Mitchell handling the ball late in games than we will of Darius Garland. I really believe that. And I was trying to do some quick math here, Reg, with my minutes, right? On 240 minutes a game, you go 48 minutes a game.
Yep.
5 starters, five guys play. So that's 240 minutes total.
That's
so
right.
I'm at 226 right now after divvying up my minutes this way. Mitchell and Mobley are getting 42 a night. Okay. Garland's getting 40. Jared Allen's going to get 37. Okoro, if he can go, is going to get about 35. Then I got Karis LeVert between 30 and 35, but I'll say 30 for now. So that leaves me 14 minutes between Rubio and Danny Green or anybody else. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking like you and what Pat Riley told you. It's going to be those 6. It's going to be.
Feel free to use that too at your radio show. If you need me, I'll send it to you on a text because I've never forgot it. I think Kenny, it was either 93 or 94. But I mean, that's when he was coaching the Knicks, and man, that stuck with me. And so, yeah, feel free to use that.
Oh, that's so good, Reg. And it obviously worked. He won a few championships using that theory, right?
He did and he got to a couple with the Knicks and got beat by Olajuwon and Houston, but
right.
But yeah, so here's the premise on this whole thing.
Yeah.
Your playoff rotations generally shrink.
Yes.
They come down. As you just laid it out by minutes, the top 6 are going to get the maximum amount of minutes that the
30 and more a night for the top 6. No questions asked.
And they should.
Right.
That's exactly what they should get.
Right.
And so, because Kenny, that is a big concern of mine. Thibodeau, Thibodeau's a hell of a good defensive coach, man. He always has been. And I think he's going to do some things to, I think specifically, as I said, I think it's going to be Darius Garland. And and now we're going to see J.B. Bickerstaff, right? What's he got? Kenny, to me, how do you feel about the thrust or the crux of what the Cavaliers do offensively? I don't think what is their system offensively? I really don't think they have one. It is a lot of ISO, and especially for Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Yeah. I've on our podcast before. Look, Darius, again, he's a good young basketball player, okay? But Kenny, those nights he takes 22, 24, 25 shots.
Yeah.
I think against a team like the Knicks, that could be counterproductive if he's looking to match shots with Donovan Mitchell.
All right. I pulled these numbers just for you, Reg.
Yeah.
In the 3 games that Darius Garland has played against the Knicks this year, okay, he's averaging under his season average. Averaged 21 points a game, 21-6, I think it was. 19-7 against the Knicks, but here's the number that stood out to me as I did the math.
How many shots?
He shot 35% from the field against the Knicks. No. He averaged 18.5 shots a game, okay? And 35% in the playoff, you're not going to win shooting 35% and hoisting up 18 to 20 shots a night. On the flip side of that, you had Donovan Mitchell 3 points, almost 4 points above his season average against the Knicks, and he shot 50% from the field. Now, granted, he's shooting 22 times a game, but hey, he's a top 10 scorer in the league. Could be first team, if not second team All NBA this year. So you're okay with that, especially when he's shooting it at 50% against that team. That's where the physicality of the Knicks bothers Darius Garland, not only with his ball handling and turnovers, but also on his shot selection and their ability to challenge his shots. And like I said, his finesse style of playing.
No question. And Kenny was it was March 31st, I think was the exact date of the night that the Knicks were in here. Kenny, Brunson goes for 48. Yep. Hey, Darius, here's another thing, man. You got to play a little bit at the other end of the floor. Yep. You can't just let him abuse you like that. And Kenny, it wasn't all Garland. You know why? Because Bickerstaff finally said, we got to have multiple people try to stop this guy because Garland can't. I mean, that was obvious what was going on.
In fairness, though, no Okoro that night, no Jared Allen that night. Okay?
Okay, yeah.
So, from that standpoint, and I'm trying to look this up, Reg, I think the Cavaliers have played the Knicks maybe once this year with all their guys on the floor, meaning somebody like Garland missed the first game. Allen missed 2 out of the 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mitchell, Mobley, and LeVert all played in all 4 games. Okay. Out of, the key players, as we're saying, Okoro missed a game as well. So this will be the first time, if Okoro can go, this will be the first time, or maybe the second time, I'd have to go back and look, that they would have their starting 5 and their top bench player all in the lineup at the same time against the New York Knicks.
Sure. And Kenny, I'm going to make this as blunt as possible too. JB Bickerstaff can't have Isaac Okoro having to be the guy to shut down Jalen Brunson. You can't have it. Randall and Barrett. Now, Okoro's got to check Julius Randle. Now, he's going to have a size disadvantage there. But if you got to put Okoro on Jalen Brunson to keep him under control, then who the hell are you having? Then who is Darius Garland playing when he's on the floor? Then, if he can't control Brunson, who the hell is he going to play?
Fournier. I mean,
Fournier. I'm not sure he's even in the rotation right now.
Okay, then you know what, Reg? Great
Emmanuel
question.
Quickly. Remember the two names I mentioned?
Right.
Emmanuel
that's right.
Quickly and Quentin Grimes, and they're both guys. Kenny, they've been hitting 3 to 6 threes a game, the two of them. Their offense has grown by leaps and bounds because of these 2 young guys. So, we'll see. I just, this is going to be a very, very intriguing series, Ken. It really is.
Who scares you the most for the New York Knicks, Michael Reghi?
Well, I mean, you got to say, Julius Randle, is he healthy, though? I mean, how many he's missed the last 4 games, I believe, if not 5.
He was in a boot from what, I was told,
right.
Still wearing a boot and everything like that.
Yeah, but there's another thing. So if Randle is healthy and he's going to be out there and play, which, I think he will, whether he's 100% or not. So, again, Evan Mobley check him? Well, you're going to have to check him.
I put Mobley on him.
Yeah, Mobley on him.
Yeah.
And, I mean, their big is Mitchell Robinson is more of a defensive-minded, shot blocker, protect the rim guy.
Right.
He's not a great offensive player per se, but this matchup is going to be so intriguing. And to me, I think Darius Garland really is one of the big keys for the Cavaliers, Kenny. He's going to have to play very, very well for them to, I think, win this series.
All right, the box score I was looking at where I said Fourier, that's my mistake. You're right. The most recent box score, you have Grimes, Barrett, Brunson, Robinson, and Toppin all started in that game.
Yep.
And Fournier didn't even play in that game. But if they get Randall back, Toppin goes to the bench.
He'll come off.
Yeah, so Grimes is probably then who you would have Darius Garland on if Okoro is guarding Brunson.
Okay, yeah, and Quentin Grimes, man, 6'4", strong.
Yep.
And I don't know. Again, like I said, I've just been a little bit disappointed at that end of the floor with Darius Garland this year, Ken.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more, Reg.
I just don't think he to me again, and he puts 99% of his effort on the offensive floor, and then when the ball's on the other end of the floor, it's like when this is when I'm going to get my blow a little bit while I'm still playing.
Right. Yeah. So that's my biggest concern in this series for the Cavaliers, twofold. Garland, all around game, right? He's got to show me something. Okay.
Yeah.
And the bench, Reg. And I know we talked about shortening the bench, but if Thibodeau wants to, he can go deeper.
He can.
If he wants to go for
he
athleticism with Toppin, right? And
yes,
Hartenstein and, Hart, who they picked up at the trading deadline.
And that was
quickly,
a hell of a good pickup
right?
for them. You're right.
Yeah, it
yes.
was.
And he defensive-minded guy,
Yep.
man.
Yes.
And he's probably going to be the guy, by the way, that, bulk of the minutes, tough guy. He'll be on Donovan Mitchell.
Down the stretch for sure.
Absolutely.
So their depth on the bench concerns me, and Garland concerns me. I think Allen will be fine in the paint. I think Mobley, 16-7, or what was 16-9 and 1.5 blocks for the year this year. Okay. First team, in my opinion, first team all NBA defensive team, Evan Mobley. Phenomenal year on that end. I think he was in the top 3 in altered shots. Forget about block shots, change shots, altered shots, and everything. So I think Mobley will be fine. I shouldn't say he'll be fine. I think he will hold his own. Yes, he's going to have some playoff aha moments that are great, and then some playoff oh shit moments where it's the experience of playing in the postseason for the first time that he'll have to learn from. But my concern is Garland has more bad moments than good moments in this series.
We're going to find out, aren't we?
Yeah. And the other slight edge I give to the Knicks is Thibodeau versus JB, right? JB, I think, has had a taste once in his career.
Right.
And he reached out to Terry Francona, I saw on social media, asking
how about that
for some. And I like that, though. Hey, that's great. You're not sure? Talk to one of the best. It's a different sport, but it's still, dealing with the pressure of the postseason. Talk to one of the best. So slight edge Thibodeau, slight edge, bigger edge for the Knicks on the bench. Starters, if everybody's healthy, I like the Cavs starters from a defensive standpoint. And I think that's where the Cavaliers win this series in 7 games, Michael. I think their top-rated defense and the style that they played, while at times was not fun to watch, right? As they slow it down on offense, but lock down on defense. I think when push comes to shove in the end, that they will play better defense than the Knicks when it matters most. And that's how I think they end up winning this series. I think it goes all 7 games, and I've got the Cavs winning it in 7 at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Yeah, I think that's my heart. I'm with you. I definitely believe it's I'd be shocked if it goes any less than 6, but I'm with you.
Right.
So think about it. Just that, as elementary as it may sound, if the Cavaliers going to win it in 6, that means they got to win at MSG in game 6.
Right.
So I'm with you. I think it would go 7. They are going to have to win a game, I feel, though, at MSG because I think the Knicks are going to win 1 here in Cleveland, and thereby you're going to get that long series. And well, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's no question about it. But to me, right now, the way they're playing, I just want to make sure that specifically Evan Mobley and Karis LeVert get their shots, Ken.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure that we got to see if that's going to happen. I remember was it the last time we did the show? I remember we were talking about that Garland and Mobley took in a game. I don't know if it was the Knicks game, but it was a game they lost. They combined for 56 shots, and Mobley and LeVert were both out there for over 30 minutes and combined for 15 shots.
Yeah.
Now, the Cavaliers got to get a little bit more offensively diverse, I think. I think it's going to be a key. Again, I know, Donovan Mitchell you're going to want him to, of course, I get it. But listen, Mobley and LeVert, these last 10, 12, I think maybe even in LeVert's case, about 15 games have been playing very well on the offensive end of the floor. And you got to get them the shots, man. You got to get them both opportunities offensively because, you want Mobley to go down, but you're never going to get him a touch. You're going to have LeVert stand in the corner, while the 2 guards are monopolizing the ball. So we'll see. We'll see how they go about that.
Reg, I want to say this, though, please. And I hope JB goes to Evan Mobley and say, okay, the regular season is over, Evan. So that means the only time you shoot a three-pointer is if the shot clock is winding down. You will not shoot a three-pointer for any other reason unless the game clock or the shot clock are at 1 and we have to hoist the ball. It is not time to work on your outside game. This is do or die time. This is nut cracking time. So no. You need to put that shot back in your tool bag and not worry about that unless it's absolutely necessary. And Reg, I just looked it up. Defensive rating for 82 games. Cavaliers first in the entire NBA net defensive rating. The New York Knicks were 19th, and I think that's the Achilles heel of the New York Knicks is their defense. And Donovan Mitchell, I think, will be the difference maker for the Cavaliers to score just enough points and help get enough stops to get this thing done in 7 games.
Okay, yeah, you got a lot of dynamic, too, because remember, it was widely thought earlier in the summer Donovan Mitchell was going to be a New York Knick, man.
Yep.
That, they wanted him. He wanted them, and it didn't happen. And the Cavaliers jumped in and got it done with the deal. So, a lot of intrigue to this series, and I'm going to go with you. But again, let's say it's more of my heart than my head.
So you have some doubt, huh?
I do.
I'm sensing some doubt there. Yeah.
Okay. I got doubt.
Okay.
I'll go Cavaliers in 7 as well. But Kenny, again, it's not going to absolutely floor me if the Knicks win this series in 6.
Would it
7.
shock me? No, it would not. I think I think if the Knicks are going to win, they have to do it in 6.
That home game, right.
If it goes to that 7th game, I think the Cavaliers, where they were 31-10, I think they were at home this year. Yes. Big difference, night and day difference. I think that will be the. That's why you play for home court advantage. That could be the difference maker.
Very logical.
To the next round.
Very well. Yeah. You would hope your playoff team wouldn't lose a game 7 at home after you played 82, as you said, to get the home court advantage. So I'm with you. I'm going to go Cavaliers in 7, but use the term floored. I'm not going to be shocked if the New York Knicks won this series, though.
We're in agreement there, but I think I will. I think I saw minus 200, the Cavaliers, the favorites in the series. All right.
Lord. My God.
Minus 200, the Cavs.
That's a little heavy.
I thought so too.
That's a little heavy as a favorite for me.
I'm waiting till later in the week to see if that comes down so I can get some better, Yeah, so we'll see.
I think that's a good move on your part. It won't at 200. My God. See, if you would have asked, I hadn't looked. I would have said minus 150.
Right.
To be honest with you.
I thought
maybe
it was
even minus 140, to be honest with you.
I was in that same ballpark too, Reg. When I saw that, I was like, oh, damn. And then another.
It's 200, minus 200? Yeah.
Now.
So that means the Knicks are plus 170? 175?
That from the the Vegas people. However, the ESPN BPI odds have New York winning 52% to 48% over the Cavaliers. Okay. So ESPN got the Knicks as the favorites, where the bettors, the Vegas guys, have the Cavaliers as the favorites. But I'm going to wait till we get closer to Saturday and see what those numbers are. And by the way, to win the NBA championship, Cavaliers are a plus 3,000. The New York Knicks are a plus 8,000. So again, the odds makers think the Cavaliers have a better chance, which I think is 0%. But anyways, they think they have a better chance of winning the championship than do the New York Knickerbockers.
Okay. Well, for all the reasons we just laid out, it's going to be a very intriguing series. There's a lot of dynamics with coaches, individual players, and how this thing plays out. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, looking for. Hey, we've got playoff basketball, Reds. That's exciting. Last year it was play-in basketball. Don't have to worry about that now. It's playoff basketball, and let's see if the Cavaliers can win. How about this? First time since '98 they're in the playoffs without LeBron. Haven't won a playoff series without LeBron since 1993. Reg, think about that. 30 years. We talked 25 to get in the playoffs without LeBron. 30 years since they won a series without LeBron.
Kenny, that was my first year
Was it really?
Play-by-play wise, I was doing pre and post.
Okay, all right.
Ahead of that, but that was my first year, and Larry Nance and Brad Doherty were trying to hang in there, and at the time it was still Lenny Wilkins, Mike Fratello came in the next year. But man, again, as I said earlier on, Ken, I mean, over a quarter of a century ago, man.
Yeah. Well, Michael, we gave it our best shot, and that damn, Michael Jordan, was a pain in our ass, and we put Elo on him, and, I thought, he would be the stopper like Gerald Wilkins couldn't be.
I know, Coach. I know.
It's one of those things. Well, Reghi, we tried, we played hard and whatnot and all and stuff. And, I think you better buckle up, Buttercup, because here come this year's Cavaliers.
He said that the other night. Did you hear him?
Yes.
We did. I laughed so hard. Like I said, as you're saying, it made me think of him saying that back in when he and Nance and Price and Elo were playing for Coach Wilkins.
Well, me and Briggsy, we went out, we took our rifles, we went out and shot some possum out there behind the Coliseum and had dinner that night.
Too good, man. Too good.
Great times. Well, let's hope the Cavaliers can do what they did in '93. They won a series back in '93. It should be a lot of fun, and we'll be breaking it down as long as they go in the playoffs. We'll give you everything you need to know here on the Reghi and Roda podcast. All right, let's get a break in here, Reg. When we come back, we got to talk some Guardians baseball because as we tape this, Michael Reghi, 7-4, all alone in first place in the AL Central, and not an easy early schedule for the Cleveland Guardians as well. We'll get into that, but some injuries that they're dealing with, how will that affect their run early in the season? All that coming your way when we return here on the R&R podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park.
What's up, everyone? I'm Holly Wetzel.
And I'm Tybus Powell.
And we are your hosts of The Orange is Oranger, a Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network. We give you all the dog pound coverage that you'll need to get you through the regular season, hopeful postseason, and I'd say off-season, Tyvis, but is there really ever an off-season for this team?
Thankfully for our podcast, Holly, there really never is when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Don't miss our breakdown of each week's matchup, game recaps, and any and all news out of Berea to feed your Browns appetite. As we know, Holly, dogs gotta eat.
Yes, they do. So hit that subscribe button and never miss an episode of the Orange is Oranger, Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey everybody, it's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen, Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey, the Roadman Kenny Roda here for the Reghi and Roda podcast and our title sponsor, MGM Northfield Park. It's your home for live and simulcast racing. Catch the excitement of live harness racing every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday evening with a 6 p.m. post time. And check out what's happening this week at Northfield Park. Tuesday, April 11th at Northfield Park, it's the Driver Challenge. And then on Wednesday, April 12th, it's the Track Team Challenge. On Tuesday, pick the top 4 drivers in each contest and earn points. On Wednesday, select the winning team and winning driver and earn more points. Guest with the most points at the end of each night of the contest will win the top prize of $1,000. Registration each night is from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. on April 11th and 12th only at Northfield Park. And we return here with the R&R podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park. And Michael, we're all excited about the Cavaliers and good luck to them. But I'm excited about the Guardians too, Reg. A tough way to open up things out on the left coast with 7 games against Seattle, the first 4 who owned us last year. Then you come home for your home opener in a series against those same Mariners. And then the Yankees on the tails of that. And through the first 11 games, here we are at 7-4 with this Guardians team dealing with some injuries as well.
Yeah, they've been, as you just said, going on the West Coast to start your season and play 7 out there and then have to come back home. Kenny, look, the thing, and again, this is so classic Tito Francona.
Yep.
They've got 4 1-run wins, right? Already.
Yeah.
4
Yep.
of their 7 are by 1 run, 4 wins in their last at bat, and
Wow.
4 extra inning wins.
Damn.
So to me, yeah. In the first 11 games of the year, they got 7 wins. And as I said, 4 of those wins have all come in those categories I just mentioned. So, Kenny, this is a fun team. They're not going to bludgeon you to death. Josh Bell is off to a very slow start, swinging the bat. So they've gone 7-4 without the guy that they wanted to hit in the middle of the lineup, and hopefully be a guy that could drive in 90 runs, maybe hit 25 bombs, 90 runs driven in. Hasn't started to hit yet in the first couple of weeks. Now you've got Tristan McKenzie and Aaron Savali, right, that are going to miss multiple starts. Don't know how many as in multiple, but, they're definitely down and going to miss multiple starts with injuries. So, we're going to find out in the next few days how Tito Francona is going to look to try to guide his baseball team through this, Kenny, because I think, as we began and you and I discussed the Guardians going into the season, I mean, that starting rotation is one of their strengths. And that's right. That's a faction of the team that you feel good about, headlined by Shane Bieber, who gave up a couple in the first inning. As you said, we're taping this on Monday night, and gave up 2 to the New York Yankees, and Giancarlo Stanton hit one about 8 miles that somehow stayed in the park. But then Bieber and the bullpen didn't give up another run after that, and they wound up getting that win, another 1-run win, right? So I feel good about them playing in tight baseball games, Kenny. They've shown that, and they proved that. They proved that last year, and I think they're showing, as we were just saying, they're proving that again this year. Is somebody going to hit a 3-run home run once in a while? I don't know, but who knows? Maybe they could find a way to continue to win without the big boppers in the lineup.
5 home runs through 11 games.
Yeah.
5 home. I remember in spring training one year, Willie Blair was pitching. Charlie Manuel was the manager. Willie Blair gave up 5 home runs in the first inning of a spring training game. We said, Charlie, what'd you think of Willie Blair tonight? Goddamn, 5 home runs. That's what he said to us, right? Pound swoosh. And we sat there and we just laughed, and Charlie laughed and shook his head, and that was the but that's all they have is 5 in 11 games. So Josh Naylor right now, the leader with 2 bombs. Jose has yet to go yard. Bell has yet to go yard, but here they are, even without those bombs from the guys they're expecting them to hit them, right? They are 7-4 through 11, and Stephen Kwan has proven, that last year wasn't a fluke. That he's a force to be reckoned with at the top of the lineup now. His on-base percentage at about 370. Rosario, so-so start, with the average, but still a decent number 2 guy. Ramirez at 273 hasn't gotten on track, but if that's off track, I'll take that. Josh Naylor has provided some big hits. The average isn't there, but has driven in some runs. And Andres Jimenez
that's my guy.
Yeah, he has started off, wanting to prove to everybody he's worth that contract they just gave him. But the big surprise to me, and again, the average doesn't say it, but the timely hits and the ability to step in for a struggling Oscar Gonzalez. How about Will Brennan tying the game twice against the Mariners to avoid the sweep and coming up with some big hits. So it's not great offensively right now, but the bullpen tonight with Clase getting his 3rd save, Karinchak maybe starting to settle down after dealing with the pitch clock, right? That rocked him in that first game in Seattle. And Bieber in 3 starts, he's 1-0 now, Reg, and that Ernie at 237. So he's proven to be the ace of the staff once again, looks healthy. But can we get anybody else in that starting rotation to be consistent with him. So far, Plecek's been up and down. Quantrill has not been good.
Nope.
Gaddis is one good one bad one, and they're going to have to go, into the minors to get some pitching depth for that starting rotation that's hurt.
Yeah, they are. And so I think we can expect, we were mentioning about all the tight one-run games and games that have to be won late innings, the last at bat, Kenny, for all the reasons you just laid out there, my man. I got a feeling that is going to continue for a while. However, again, though, you have to feel positive about their capabilities and their ability to win those type. I mean, they can win 3-2. They can win 4-3. Hell, they can win 2-1. And so you got to feel good about that. You have to feel good about that, given that so far, as you said, 5 home runs in 11 games. Don't do the math on that, because you stretch that out over a whole baseball season, and it's not enough power for a team that you expect to play in the postseason. So going to have to be done some other ways, Kenny, but we're going to find out. Terry Francona is, the master strategist with things like this. And, he usually pushes all the right buttons, right? Pulls all the right levers, especially being able to use his entire roster. And I think for a while, Ken, that's exactly what the formula is going to have to be for this team to win.
I was just looking at the schedule, Reg, and I knew this was happening this year, but I didn't really look at the schedule. And I'm like, damn. Okay, it's the Yankee. Okay, finally get to play Detroit. Oh, then you got Boston. Then you got New York again. Then it's Minnesota. You got the Angels in there. All the Mets. And the Card. You're not playing Kansas City 19 times this year. You're not playing Detroit 19 times. Minnesota, Chicago 19 times. So the schedule is going to be a lot tougher. And so you hope that you can navigate through and play 500 ball against the playoff teams, and then whenever you play the cupcakes, the Pirates, the Reds, the Tigers, the Royals, you need to get fat on those cupcakes. And hopefully when it's all said and done, you get one more win than the Royals or not the Royals, the Twins or the White Sox, and win your division at the end of the year.
No, you're exactly right. Now just think about this, right? So let's and hey, listen, you play the division you're in, but look, I mean, I think you got to be honest about it. You and I have said over the Indians, Guardians, see, there you go, should be able to take advantage of playing in the division they play in. Yep. Because, I mean, again, Kenny, for the last few years, they've played Detroit 19 times, Kansas City 19 times, Minnesota 19 times, and Chicago 19 times. That's 76 games of your schedule.
Right. Almost half. Yeah.
Almost half of it. So, but now take 24 of those away, because now you're only playing them 13 times each. So that's 24 less games over the course of a 162 that the Guardians will play Detroit, Kansas City, Minnesota, and Chicago. Right. So, will that be a factor? Hope not, but we're going to have to find out, because again, I don't see, if you're being honest and being realistic, and it's nothing of detriment to the Guardians organization, as we said. Terry Francona's done a masterful job, but you can't tell me that playing in that division hasn't been something of a strong help to this baseball team, Ken.
Yeah, it was a nice crutch to fall back on, right?
Yeah.
If you had a losing streak, we got what? 7. The next 7 are against the Royals and Tigers.
The Tigers.
Yeah. So
win 5 of them, maybe 6.
Right. Yeah. So that's not going to be there anymore. But here's the other side of that coin, Reg. Same can be said now for the White Sox and the Twins too. Mm-hmm. They're not playing the Royals and Tigers those extra games as well, and they got to play basically the same schedule that the Guardians are playing. So you hope that's where it evens out for you, and that if you are the better team, you'll find a way to win one more game than Chicago or Minnesota, so you can win the division and don't have to worry about that wild card stuff.
I think your Buccos beat the White Sox today. Did they not? I think they did.
Did they? Oh, that'd be nice.
I believe they did. Yeah.
The Guards are playing. We should go to that series if we can.
Okay.
Reg.
Yeah,
we should try and make a trip to the Berg and
great,
go.
Man.
That ballpark is beautiful, isn't it?
My God, I love going to PNC.
Oh my goodness. It's one of the jewels in Major League Baseball. For a crappy team, they've got one of the nicest stadiums in all of Major League Baseball.
No question about it. Pittsburgh is a wonderful city. You know, I know all of you. Oh, Reghi. No, it's a hell of a good city. You see, you go there to Kenny, the first year that PNC opened, it was my last year calling the Orioles and played them in interleague play. And I thought, my God, this is just a hell of an atmosphere here. See all the fans walking in over the bridge, right? Coming into, and it's just a beautiful yard and right in the heart of the city. So, hey, listen, let's look at that. What month?
I'm looking at it right now here, Reg.
The guards go in there? Is it?
Yeah, let's see here.
Is it June?
It's not in the first half of the season. So that means we're looking after July the 9th. So that's the so-called second half of the season. The guards will play in the Berg. Let's see here. Where are you, Cleveland? I'm trying to find there we are. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, July 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Okay. So before
two night games
starts.
Yeah, 2 night games and then a day game. So we'll see if maybe
we can go.
That'd do fun. Something. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, be a good road trip, good place to see a ball game and everything. The Buccos beat the White Sox yesterday, helped us out yesterday. Right. Astros got them today, but I think they're still dealing with the injury.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're still dealing with the injury that occurred in that 1-0 win over the White Sox as Cruz, their outstanding shortstop, looks like he may be done for the season, Reg.
Is that right? That kid is sweet, man.
Yeah. Major blows.
Sweet young player.
He fractured his ankle, and he's out at least 4 months, if not longer. That's a big blow for them.
That's a tough blow.
Yeah,
to be sure.
It is.
Sure.
So, but the Guardians, luckily, it's just an oblique strain for Aaron Savali, and McKenzie with that shoulder strain started throwing, I guess, today. So that's a good sign. So hopefully they'll get those guys back within the next month and a half at the most, if everything goes well, and that'll help settle down that rotation that is a little shaky right now because of the injuries. But so far,
the master strategist, Terry Francona, he's going to have to really wheel and deal in his bag of baseball tricks and see how he can keep his team upright through having a couple of guys out of the rotation, huh?
The Gardiac kids getting it done somehow, some way. 7-4 through 11. All right, Reg, that'll wrap up this edition of the R&R podcast brought to you by MGM Northfield Park here on the Press Play Podcast Network. When we get together again, Reg, we'll have at least a game, maybe 2 in the books for the Cavaliers. We'll see how the guards have done up to that point, and maybe a little draft preview the next time we get together and see maybe which way the Browns will go with their first pick in the not first round, not second round, in the third round, unless they move up. All right.
Yeah, let's do that. Should be a lot of fun. Maybe we can after game 2 of the Cavaliers Knicks series, right?
Yep.
Maybe we can get together with all the peeps again and see where the Cavs are after a couple of games against the Knicks.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks, everybody, once again for tuning in, as you always do. We really appreciate it, to the R&R podcast. Thanks to our producer, Ty Quartz. And we'll do this all again real soon, so make sure you keep looking for another edition of the Reghi and Roda podcast.